Incompatible with Western liberal democracy because they're too frightened and too clueless to confront.
That window's gone.
And now there's a fifth column, agitating on the streets, calling for jihad, calling for the extermination of Jews, and there are thousands and thousands who join these marches who have been manipulated in just the same way.
So I just noticed the signs that you got from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. What does that mean?
Well, it's quite self-explanatory. Needs to be.
Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, isn't it? Because I guess what I mean is, how would that come about? What would happen to the Israelis, etc.?
I don't.
I'm trying to think of how to word it. Isn't it just as self-explanatory as the area of land? It's Palestine's land.
What are you guys out here protesting for?
No comment.
Why are you guys out here today?
Speak to the organizers.
Why can't I wanted to ask you though.
Do you know what NY is doing? About what? About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated. I'm not either.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think it would be a good idea if we...
Why are you guys protesting?
Just to be a part of the cause.
And what's the cause?
I'm not the right person to talk to.
So why are you guys protesting today?
I don't want to talk to press, I'm sorry.
They don't really want to talk. Why are you guys protesting here today?
I don't want to do this, sorry.
Do you know why you are protesting here today?
Yes.
And what is that reason?
No comment.
Build a new workers' party, a socialist alternative to Sunak and Starmer for a socialist intifada.
Yeah.
What's a socialist intifada?
If I'm being honest with you, I just got this at the stand over there.
Okay.
I don't actually know the definition of the word intifada.
Okay.
But, I mean...
Do any of you know the definition of the word intifada? Stop bombing Gaza, that makes sense. What about that one? Yeah. And what does that mean?
Well, it means to... I'm definitely not the person to talk to about this.
The claimed cause is to stop a so-called genocide of Palestinians. They believe in the cause. They can't name the river or the sea, but they march anyway. They didn't march for the millions of Uyghur Muslims being persecuted by the Chinese, because no one else was. They didn't march for the Yemeni Muslims being bombed by the Saudis, because no one else was. And they didn't march for the hundreds of thousands of Syrian Muslims killed by Assad, because no one else was. But in this case, people are marching, so they march.
The majority of them know nothing. I grew up in Israel. I moved here 27 years ago. I've been to explosions, I've been to the shit. None of those people got their info.
I have no idea. It's the next cool thing to do. The average person, I think, at these protests is the kid that isn't cool or good looking enough to be invited to a house party. So because they're not invited to a house party, they make their own, which is out here, which is why what happens when they summon these people with a flyer, 10,000 of them show up. These are 10,000 people with nowhere else to be.
They get to be part of a community. They find meaning where they had none. In their outrage and indignation, they get to feel good about themselves. There are many causes where this mass formation happens. Me Too, pro-abortion, so-called vaccines, free Palestine, transgenderism. Sometimes people jump on board because they believe in it. It gives them meaning and community and makes them feel better about themselves. Others, they jump on board out of fear of what may happen if they don't. And our so-called leaders, they're frightened to confront the threat of Islam. And they're too frightened to even talk or confront the threat of the far left. But don't worry, guys, don't worry. The definition of extremism. That'll work, that'll beat it. Of course, not everyone is caught up in this mass formation. Not everyone can be manipulated quite so easily. And not everyone will comply with the government deciding what ideas are correct and telling people what they have to think. So they have to have consequence for dissent, for non-compliance. There has to be a consequence for speaking out. And the government will decide what non-compliance is. The government will decide what you're allowed to say. As the cost of speaking out increases, fewer people are prepared to speak out. Everyone should get the message, and a spiral of submission and compliance should follow. Perfect. Well, that's the theory. But the government know they have to be careful. Make non-compliance costly enough to crush dissent, but not so costly that they create martyrs. Create one Spartacus, and you may have a revolt on your hands.
Every day brings new studies, new findings that confirm the last 2 years of life in the Western world as a blizzard of lies.
Keep in mind, Tony Blair is the one who's been advocating for vaccine passports, digital identification through COVID, and all of these measures.
Either we stand for free speech, in which some people will take offence, some people won't, or we don't, right?
There's no scientific evidence. Sadiq Khan rubbished the evidence and had it rewritten.